it's GPTV1. Live stream the trends, let the exploration run. Hip hop beats, we're on the scene. Catch the buzz, live your dream. Yeah, I said the end, vibe high, it's GPTV1. Live stream the trends, let the exploration run. Hip hop beats, we're on the scene. Catch the buzz, live your dream. Yeah, I don't from me straight to plot. Or when I'm stand up for the stone, I live my life. Been Easter, it's when Easter, they still when I make it fast. But the schoolies never bet for me, my always still for stars. I'm the horn, niggas know they cute too, I keep out the bone. But let's get it, you know my me and wish be up the shown. And when I see a nigga smile, you will stay up front. And if they got me know, then now you know I did the con. You up the icon, I see the fact. Missing I'm busy, but I hate I wake, so what I pack. I keep a searing in the rain, then I smoke as trash. And if I get I'll keep a four, I know some planet, yeah. Taking trash till it's caught from my leasing to living. All the flu on the blame that resenting me reeling. Dax geeking out of love, I might never be willing. You shall never know what you I can never forget. But tune in, vibe high, it's GPTV1. Live stream the trends, let the exploration run. Hip hop beats, we're on the scene. Catch the buzz, live your dream. Yeah, I 7 in, vibe high, it's GPTV1. Live stream the trends, let the exploration run. Hip hop beats, we're on the scene. Catch the buzz, live your dream. Yeah, you know by now it's on the line of people, but you never know this name is Kanana sequel. Sticking fresh, taking down, so decide the needle. Put down, stay the time to line like you want the needles. And if you hate when I like the brown, it's like your cam in the ground till they come a noun. But like I'm so fresh up and through the moose confused. And now I know what's up and noon and that was all fuck you. Say you never lose stakes, it's not a hurricane. I was go do he's not a like a bagel, drink your face. But I was thinking to his soul when y'all was by the cover. And now I rain, man, I ain't like the make whatever. I say kablim, flame mine, you gave me no restriction. This nut so hard, go within and never missing. Convinced that you need love me now, but sure and never tripping. It's the enemies it's all, boy, you'll come and get tripping. Tune in, vibe high, it's GPTV1. Live stream the trends, let the exploration run. Hip hop beats, we're on the scene. Catch the buzz, live your dream. Yeah, I say the in, vibe high, it's GPTV1. Live stream the trends, let the exploration run. Hip hop beats, we're on the scene. Catch the buzz, live your dream.
What up, dope fam? I'm back in the building. Super excited to be with you all again on this Friday evening. This is GPTV1, and I decided to go ahead and put me a regular schedule together for this live stream. So I will be going live on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. And whenever the super chat start really get going, I will come back on a Sunday, and that day will be set up for the audience. They can pick the topics, and we can have the discussion. But definitely, we want to get that popping. So I want to welcome y'all here. If you step in the building, please click that like button, click that notification bell. That way you can get notifications and alerts whenever I go live. And I'll be feeling really great. And it's all about performing for you all and bringing these good stories to life and adding it, turning it into a cautionary tale. It's something we all can learn from all these stories. So a lot of things I'm gonna be covering on this episode. We're talking about R. Kelly, update the protests that's been going on. We're gonna be doing the Diddy update. This week I haven't really been following it, the Diddy trial. I step in every now and then to listen to something, but we're gonna see what's going on with that. And the other trial I've been keeping up with is Karen Reed. But the elephant in the room is this Rodney Finley story. These YouTubers was going at it. And unfortunately, this man right here was assassinated over that stuff. But before we jump into all of that, I want y'all to check out this public announcement. You don't want to miss it, so stay tuned, fam. Welcome to the GP Inner Circle. What up, though, GP fam? I'm excited to announce that the GP membership is now officially active. This is your chance to step up and show your support in a way that truly matters. By joining the Inner Circle, you will unlock exclusive perks tailored just for the most dedicated supporters, because you deserve nothing less. But that's not all. The Super Chat feature is now live. giving you an even greater opportunity to engage with me and the community in real time. Your support fuels my passion and creativity, inspiring me to deliver the kind of fire content that only the GP fam deserves. So why wait? Join the GP membership today and be a part of something special. Let's elevate this community together, because when you thrive, we all thrive. Welcome to the inner circle. Your journey starts now. Much love. Yeah, I'm back with you all. Again, thank you for joining me right here on GPTV1 as the subscribers keep climbing up and we're marching straight to 10,000. I'm happy about that. And we're about to approach 1 million views on the GP channel, and we're just going to keep loading up content on here. Go back and check out the the playlist rather, excuse me. And check out the GP store. I got some nice inspirational stickers over there for $1.99. All of that keeps the channel thriving, and we're gonna keep updating. But like I said, I got a lot of stuff I want to cover in here today. And of course, the ICE raids, protests that have been popping off all week long, and we're going to get to that. But I want to jump right into this R. Kelly. There's some news that have been breaking out about this guy, about a possible assassination on his life. And I want to look at that and probably get some of this news report. And I'm going to share my screen. And R. Kelly, he was another big downfall in the music industry. He was getting a little older, so he wasn't like that young R&B guy. Usher probably was a little bit younger than him. But at his peak, he was like the king of the R&B stuff. He made a lot of good music. He made some great records, I can say that. But again, he had one of those strange type of lifestyles. And I always say with R. Kelly's situation, he wasn't banked up like P. Diddy. In fact, R. Kelly wasn't financially literate. So he basically gave away all of his music and all that type stuff because he didn't know how to read. He just wasn't a very educated guy, but he was very talented and he can make some good songs. And I think in his situation, he just ran out of money. You know, he can't pay people off. He can't pay people to be quiet and stuff like that. And then when you run out of money, like I've been saying, like they just throw you away and they'll try to take you down. So, and you're trying to get out of there. But let's look at check out this R. Kelly report right here. And check more into this. Let me see. Let me share my screen. I'm gonna go here, make that bigger, and see what they're saying.
That every minute he spends locked up at Butner, he is in danger. And why? The way his lawyers tell it, prison officials want R. Kelly dead.
The guy paranoid?
The government, they say, has put a target on the singer in prison.
Why would they be putting a target on you? I mean, if you was gonna do any snitching, you should have probably been done that. Is this guy paranoid or what? Or is there some validity to this?
What's R. Kelly's lawyers say the Bureau of Prisons conspired with one of his fellow inmates, a member of the Aryan Brotherhood, to murder him.
Aryans.
I'm joined now by Bo Brindley, attorney for R. Kelly. Mr. Brindley, I'm so glad to have you on this show. Thanks so much.
Kelly's attorney, okay.
I mean, what I just read, what I just said.
Guess you can get a little bit more insight if you got his attorney on there, but you know, he's gonna do what he can to get out of there.
It all sounds very fantastic.
R. Kelly is another one of those guys that caught this RICO charge at an older age too, so he ain't trying to spend the rest of his life in prison.
Do you have proof?
Well, the answer is we do have proof, and we appreciate the opportunity to be able to come on and talk about it. In terms of proof, the most powerful piece of proof I can provide is the sworn statement of the man who says that he was solicited to kill R. Kelly. Michael Glenn.
What made you have a heart to go report this information? Don't you think they may do something to you if you telling on prison officials? Let's go.
Stein has provided us with a full declaration signed, and he's given his willingness to sit down for a polygraph examination administered by
It's supposed to be from the Aryan Nation. I thought they don't like black people.
either side to testify in court. He has given us the details of who solicited him and when. And I think that's the key here. These are not R. Kelly's allegations. These are the allegations being made by Michael Glenn Stein, who's the person who says that he was solicited to kill Robert and sent to Butner to do it from another facility. And we took significant time. Oh, I don't mean to interrupt. Go ahead.
No, that's okay.
No, some people go in the prison system, they be moving around in different prisons. I know they say, hey, this person may have life, but he may not actually stay in that same prison.
Okay, I'm trying to put a lot of the pieces of the puzzle together as you're answering. And I'm just confused if this inmate allegedly said that the Bureau of Prisons sought him out to murder a fellow inmate, why?
Well, that's an excellent question.
That's
the
what we
answer
want to
is
know.
also
Why?
pretty clear. Mr. Stein, in his declaration, has set forth the reason that was given. The reason is that Mr. Kelly was about to expose some facts that would be extremely inflammatory and damaging to the Bureau of Prisons and the Department of Justice. And because of that, the Bureau of Prisons instructed Michael Glenn Stein to go to Butner and execute R. Kelly. And Mr. Stein made clear and gave us extraordinary detail when we spoke to Mr. Stein. We didn't use this until we actually went down and met with Mr. Stein.
You know they're going to attack the credibility of this
He told
person.
us an extraordinary...
Like you're in prison or whatever, like the prison snitches, you know, they always going to try to
detail. That
attack your
this is
credibility.
not the first
Sure.
instance. That this happens all the time. That the Aryan Brotherhood has been directed to commit murders and beatings at the behest of prison officials for years. People have been killed who pose problems for officers, for
a lot of
lawsuits.
information.
And it happens, according to Mr. Stein.
Well, I can believe that. I can believe that stuff. You know, if some shady stuff goes on in the prison system, we can believe that.
Not only will he tell you that it happens, he will explain, when given the opportunity in great detail, all of these murders in which he has participated, which he has directed other Aryan Brotherhood people to do.
So this guy
being
committed
one,
some
the
Can I
murders.
ask you to just...
So tell me, Stephanie, why Popular Pays?
Prior to working with
Let's
Popular
move on.
Pays,
Hey.
never ever got responses.
All right, they got to get their money.
Yeah, like murder's a big deal, right? I think we can all agree.
That's
on
what I
that.
say.
And putting a target on someone's head, kind of a last resort.
That's what I say. That's a big deal right there, you know. Why would R. Kelly, I'm pretty sure other people has been saying these things, but why R. Kelly? That's what I'm not getting.
What kind of information are we talking?
And I'm thinking it was something that had to do with his case or something, but apparently, according to this lawyer, it got to do with stuff that's going on in the prison system.
Talking about that allegedly R. Kelly is in possession of, that
That don't mean you get let free. There's plenty of people get hit in there, get hits put out on them. They don't let them out of prison.
would be unflattering to the government at a level that would, suggest that a hit was put on his head.
Well, let me say it this way. It's not allegedly having evidence. We do have evidence, and one piece of evidence we've already presented in the form of a signed declaration from Keyshawn Mogadamudi, Robert's former cellmate. And what he describes is having been solicited by prosecutors who are offering him a reduced sentence in exchange for stealing Mr. Kelly's privileged attorney-client correspondence, funneling it through an identified Bureau of Prisons officer, a corrupt officer, and then that was provided to the U.S. Attorney's Office. This man has made a statement, and both he and Mr. Stein are making statements that are absolutely not in their own personal interest, and yet they've done anyway. And so we do have that evidence, and what that evidence means is we're talking about prosecutors and Bureau of
I'm saying, why R. Kelly? And I'm pretty sure that other people got them same complaints as R. Kelly. But why is y'all targeting this guy in particular? And what makes y'all think that these upper hierarchy type people will listen to him? Why R. Kelly? That's not making no sense right here. Then they always going to attack the credibility of people that's coming up with these so-called statements.
Prison guards, not just guards, but officials, people that are officers. We're talking about these people committing crimes. The theft of Mr. Kelly's mail was a crime, and it was a violation of his constitutional rights. On top of that, there's another prison guard,
they're going to be going all through your mail,
Tawana Ingram, who also stole other attorney-client correspondence.
Let me jump in here.
We'll take one more question on this, Doc, because I want to move to this article by R. Kelly. Let's see what else she's going to ask.
Because I've been around the block as you have as well. And if I had a dime for the number of inmates who lied under oath on the stand, you name it, I'd be on a yacht in the Med. However, suggesting that the government thinks that this alleged behavior of a cellmate of R. Kelly's is so egregious, the only remedy is to solicit murder sounds a bit crazy. Again, given it was their word against an inmate. So you see where I'm coming from, right? That's why it sounds fantastical. And I guess the other question to add to that is that if the threat is over, meaning the man allegedly solicited to kill R. Kelly has come and said, I won't do it, I'm going to sing like a canary instead.
Why to change your heart?
The threat is the other Brotherhood, another one of which has been identified, who has been asked to carry out what Mike Stein has been unwilling to do. That's what you have to understand. Well, there's government officials who committed crimes, and people still in the Bureau of Prisons.
They took his mail? Yeah, that's a crime.
Crimes that the current administration, the current Department of Justice will have no sympathy for, I guarantee.
Okay. None of that stuff is making sense, at least in my opinion. Other people can have their opinions. They certainly got the right to have that. But this sounds like some conspiracy theory type stuff. This is so far-fetched. And you're taking the word of these guys who's supposed to be part of the Aryan Nation, and y'all taking their word. That's supposed to be the official word. So I don't know. This stuff sounds fishy. But even if somebody try to assassinate you or supposedly put a hit out on you in prison, I don't mean they're going to let you out of prison. They probably move you to another prison. But this is the article I really want to get to. Let me share my screen on this right here. What up, though, fam? You stepping in the building, click that like button. It don't cost nothing to click that like button. Click that notification bell. That way you can get alerts for whenever I go live. But I want to share my screen with this article right here. Let me replace that. And guess what? Guess what? R. Kelly is looking for a pardon. He wants Donald Trump to pardon him. And if he did get arrested, if he get found convicted, he's gonna do the same thing. But R. Kelly's lawyer, Mo B. Brindley, tells people that his client's life is in danger and time is of the essence as he seeks a meeting with Donald Trump. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. What y'all think Trump gonna do in that situation? Like he said, he had to look at the facts. I'm sure he wasn't around there listening to R. Kelly music for sure. Let's read some more of this article, though. Need to know, R. Kelly is seeking a presidential pardon from Donald Trump. His lawyer, Brentley, tells people after filing an emergency motion alleging officials plotted to kill Kelly. We are in open discussion with people close to President Trump, and those discussions have expanded, intensified since we filed our motion, Brentley says. And don't forget these lawyers, they want to be famous and all this stuff too. This comes after Kelly alleged officials were plotting to murder him in prison in an emergency motion that resulted in the singer being placed in solitary confinement. So we're in solitary confinement right now. And this story probably broke yesterday. R. Kelly is seeking clemency from President Donald Trump in his bid to be transferred from federal prison to home confinement. And he had 2 RICO charges, and I think his time is running concurrently, like they're running together. The disgraced singer, who is currently serving a 30-year sentence after being convicted on federal charges, including racketeering and sex trafficking, is hoping to be granted a pardon or have his sentence commuted after alleging in an emergency motion. That's the same charge as P. Diddy is on. And he didn't have the power like a P. Diddy. He didn't have the bankroll like a P. Diddy. Yes, he was a popular singer, sold out concerts and all that, and he did have his little label at one time. I forgot he did. He produced a couple of acts or whatever, and I believe one of those acts, this woman named Sparkle, he had a real issue with that woman, and she had vowed to take him down. Even when he went through his case, I wasn't really following it. Even when he went through his case before, I wasn't really following that. When he supposedly urinated all over this little girl, which is supposed to be Sparkle's niece. But she always vowed that she was going to take R. Kelly down. But I still say, everything is fine and dandy when R. Kelly got all the money and all that stuff. R. Kelly, the money started running low. Now he can't do all this and that. Then he was an older artist. You probably still be popular, famous, and all that type stuff. But making top charting music and all that stuff, usually the older artists don't get that. That usually goes to the younger artists, like having #1 singles and smash records or whatever, They usually go to a younger artist. But that's R. Kelly, and he's looking for Trump to pardon him. And when you're in those type of situations, you're going to try to do what you can to get out of there. Man, who wants to be sitting in prison for the rest of their life, especially when you're being set up? It's the same thing with Bill Cosby, same thing. Y'all doing too much, and then these people are going to take y'all down. So R. Kelly, what else we got coming up here? What else we going to cover? Let me check my notes. Oh, no, we're in the wrong one. Need to check my notes on here. I think I need to go here. There we go. Oh, the protesters. It's something that's called No King's Day. So I want to check out the latest news on these protesters. I haven't been keeping up with that over the past couple of days. And they said something that's called the No Kings protest planned against Donald Trump's policies. And I looked up an article and I found something on here to see what is No Kings. So the No Kings protest is a demonstration being organized for June 14th, on the day of the U.S. Army 250th anniversary parade. So the U.S. Army, and by the way, it's a war breaking out over there in Israel and Iran. They got all these wars going on, and y'all looking to poke holes in Trump's presidency. That's probably what they try to attack, because he promised that he would stop these wars and all that type of stuff. But they still raging on. I mean, he can't go over there in these people's country and tell them what to do. So the anniversary of U.S. Army, which due to his coinciding with the birthday of Donald Trump. So his birthday coming up. Hold on a second, fam. I need to come. Start getting a little warm in here. I need to turn that air up. But anyway, so these people plan to march. And that says a lot when you're doing on days like that. And it also sends a message to people in the world. But I want to look at what's going on with this. Let's check out this news report and see what they're saying about this No King's Day. I never heard of that. But we're going to check it out together. Stepping in the building, click that like button. Thank you for joining me right here on GPTV1. I will be going live every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. I just want to get a regular schedule together and you all can join me. And don't be afraid to jump into the discussion. It's all about entertaining you all. But let's go to this part of this news report talking about this No King's Day, and it's just an update on what's been going on with these protesters. Let me share my screen for you all and let y'all see what I'm saying. This is about the No King's Day. Go ahead and play that and get some
Ryan
sound.
Whiteman. With that, we'll begin with Chief Donald.
Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you, and thank you all for being here today. The Los Angeles Police Department is fully prepared for the planned demonstrations scheduled to take place across the city on Saturday, tomorrow. We're closely monitoring developments and deploying our personnel and resources strategically to protect public safety while safeguarding every individual's right to protest peacefully. Since the onset of the protests, we've seen fluctuations in arrest activity, with Sunday and Monday each surpassing 200 arrests per day. In response, a citywide curfew from 8 o'clock at night till 6 in the morning was put in place starting on June 10th and will remain in effect through the weekend. The curfew has played a key role in helping to restore order, particularly by curbing the criminal activity that was largely occurring during the evening hours. The LAPD continues to operate under a unified command with the California.
And by the way, these protests were happening like in pockets in LA. It was not spread all over LA. Certain parts of LA didn't feel the impact of these protests. Let's go.
Highway Patrol, Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department, and the Los Angeles City Fire Department, as well as other public safety partners. The coordinated approach ensures that we're sharing intelligence, aligning resources, and responding quickly and effectively as conditions continue to evolve. Let me be absolutely clear on this. If you come to Los Angeles to exercise your rights peacefully, we are here to protect that. But if you come to our city with the intent to commit crimes, damage property, or harm others,
that's the part I'm not with, but when you had these marches, sometimes you had these provocateurs be showing up at this stuff and they sort of be causing panic. So it'd be some people that pop up and do stuff like that, but I don't believe in just going there burning down properties and stuff like that. Let's go.
Including our officers, you will be arrested. We will not allow violence, vandalism, or threats to public safety to undermine the rights of those who are demonstrating lawfully. We're asking everyone who plans to participate in Saturday's event to do so peacefully and respectfully. Please adhere to the curfew, follow lawful instructions, and help us to ensure that the focus remains on the message and not on mayhem. Thank you.
Yeah, that's them.
Now we'll invite up Sheriff Luna.
Day.
Thank you. Thank you all for being here to cover this. I'm going to go over several things because I'm obviously responsible for the entire county of Los Angeles, and there's a lot of information, there's a lot going on, and a lot that's going to happen. I do want to...
I'm not going to play this whole thing. We just getting like an update of what's going on out there, and this is LA. There's no King's Day. Of course, they're protesting against those ICE raids.
Start off by thanking all of the deputy sheriffs and police officers that have been working around the clock for about the last week. All the employees and their families. There's a lot of sacrifice going on, and if I can just take you on a little journey for a second, when these deputy sheriffs and police officers are leaving their family, you can imagine the exchange of I'm praying for you, I love you, please.
Yeah, but that's just an update on that. Out there in LA, there's no Kings. It's some type of organization. They call themselves going against Trump's policies. This is a bunch of stuff that's happening everywhere, all across the world. You got all these protesters over here. You got these wars going on over there. And with the GP, like I said, I have a degree in communications, and I like to cover a lot of stuff. That's why I like the way the GP channel is going right now. Let's check out this with the Associated Press. Of course, the Associated Press is like one of the top media outlets out there. Feeling generous? Hit me on the Chime. So, City of Los Angeles Emergency Operations Center. It's just showing the Operations Center. That's the Associated Press. So I'm not going to share my screen on that one. It's basically people just standing in some type of command room, and they got all the cameras pointed on these areas. Look like this may be some type of Los Angeles police station. That's the Associated Press showing that live right now, and they just had the mayor on there giving some type of speech. And You know, a lot of them, they all with the protesters and all of that type stuff. But at the same time, they don't want you come down there tearing up stuff. So it's their responsibility. And then on top of that, they they don't want Trump to send those troops in there. Here go another article right here. I want to share my screen on that one though. Let me share my screen on that. There we go. And I want to enlarge this and see what they're talking about.
150 Army vehicles, including different types of tanks, and 50 aircraft as well. Army officials say it will cost between $25 and $45 million. This, keep in mind, is an expenditure by an administration trying to cut costs. Now, the last time the U.S. held a military parade was way back in 1991.
You got $25 million for that. I'm sure there's a lot of people can use that.
All right, this is 34 years ago, and it marked the end of the Gulf War. And according to the Washington Post, it cost about $8 million at the time. Adjusted for inflation, that's about $19 million today. Now, inspired by France's Bastille Day parade during a visit back in 2017, President Trump called on the U.S. military to begin planning its own parade. This was during his first term, but that never came together. Naftali Ben-David is in our Washington bureau with more.
Military parades over here in this country, but we see them in those other countries, though. They look like they ain't no joke either.
On tomorrow's parade.
In that North Korea Army parade, man, them dudes be looking ferocious.
He's a senior political correspondent for the Washington Post. Good morning to you, Naftali. So President Trump seems to be going all out for this parade, this time in his second term. But why exactly? Was it really about what he saw in France?
Yeah.
Well, I guess it depends who you ask. The White House certainly says that the U.S. Army deserves nothing less than a grand parade on its 250th birthday, that this doesn't come around very often. Of course, the U.S. doesn't have military parades quite in the same numbers that other countries do. But, you know, the administration would argue, if not now, when? It's time to celebrate what is sometimes seen as an
Okay, that's just a quick update on this parade that's supposed to be popping off. I'm not going to play that whole thing. In fact, let me stop sharing my screen. But this No Kings protest supposed to go down when this parade is supposed to be happening. And that sends a message, and people from other countries, they pay attention to those messages. So I want y'all to hold tight. We got a lot more to cover. We still got to get on the Diddy. We still got to talk about Rodney Finley. We'll take a little small break so I can give me something cool to drink. Y'all stay tuned, fam. Yeah, I'm back in the building, fam. Thank y'all for staying tuned. And like I said, we got a lot to cover. And I want to get on to this Diddy stuff. And they said that Kanye West showed up at the court. And you know, he supports Diddy and what he's going through. When Kanye walked in there, everybody should have ran away. They should have ran away when Kanye walked up in there. Like literally, they should have got out and dodged. They see him coming in there. But he went down into the courtroom, and I think they said that he tried to get in the day before or something like that. But let's go to some of this Diddy stuff and see what's popping with him. Oh yeah, P. Diddy. Kanye West shows up, and this stuff, let me get the latest. I want to share my screen on this one. share my screen with this. And let's see what's going on, get the latest updates on this Diddy stuff. So let's share my screen right here. Share Diddy. Let's share that. And let me widen the screen up. Get some sound
happening inside and outside of the Sean Combs federal courthouse as he's facing charges of sex trafficking, racketeering, and transportation to engage in prostitution. Been quite the day. Want to bring on Law and Crime's in-court reporter Elizabeth Milner to answer all of your questions right now. And there are a lot. Elizabeth, it's good to see you. As you can imagine.
Hey, so there's a couple of reporters. Like, I watch a lot of Nancy Grace. She just be clicking out on this guy for sure. But it's a woman that be doing updates on her show. And this particular show, these women do fantastic jobs keeping up with what's going on in the court. And keeping all their notes together. She just does a really good job.
A lot of questions about Kanye West. He showed up to that courtroom today. We know he is a friend of Sean Diddy Combs. He was even asked reportedly outside of court, is he there to support him? Yes. So let me begin with the first question we have from Danny. There might be a misconception here. So Elizabeth, set the record straight. Was Kanye in the courtroom or was he in the overflow room?
So it was kind of an interesting morning. A lot of rumblings just about whether or not Kanye West was here, whether he was actually here, because there was rumors yesterday that he was here too. But yes, I can confirm that he was here at the courthouse today. Now, as far as being inside the main courtroom, no, he was not inside the main courtroom. I did not see him in there. But at first I was thinking, okay, maybe he might come into the main courtroom because they cleared the floor. They being the marshals cleared the floor. So I thought maybe it was to bring him into the room, but that didn't happen. But I did hear that he was sent to the overflow room, and maybe that wasn't where he wanted to be today. And so what ended up happening was I think he was there for maybe 15, 20 minutes and then ended up leaving. So no.
Yeah, I mean, what difference you gonna make?
He was not in the main courtroom, but I did hear he was in the overflow room for just a little bit.
Yeah, so we got this question from Olivia. You know, any jury or court reaction to Kanye being there. So I'm glad you set the record straight because it wasn't entirely clear what was going on. Oh, we had this happen today, too. Shopgirl asks, it was reported that Diddy was shaking his head again in court, during cross-examination. Did the judge admonish him once again, and did you observe any of that?
Well, I did, yes. I did observe him kind of nodding along with Mark Agnifilo, even towards the end of Mark Agnifilo's cross to the HSI investigator, or HSI agent, special agent, I should say, that I saw Diddy kind of give him an under-the-table thumbs up that I was able to see from my angle and my point of view. But afterwards, Maureen Holmes kind of stands up. This is after the jury is dismissed for a break, and she said that her colleagues in the back of the courtroom who have a better
You're in the building, click that like button. It don't cost anything to click that like button. I want to thank y'all for joining me. Right now, we're doing an update on the Diddy trial.
View of Diddy because the prosecution that's in front of him, they don't get a view of him, obviously because they're in front of him, but that the colleague had told Maureen Comey that Diddy was kind of nodding along with the cross-examination, and the judge was kind of like, he didn't admonish him necessarily. He was like, it's normal reaction for humans to kind of have this reaction, and I can't police every single reaction that the defendant is necessarily having. So it wasn't a stern talking to like it was the first time, but he said that if anything does happen again, he'll do the appropriate measures. But as far as Brian Steele kind of defending the defendant there, Brian Steele was kind of like he's been nothing but professional.
Hey, y'all check out those sketches they've been doing on Diddy. His family been complaining about that, and he been complaining about it. He said it makes him look like a koala bear. A lot of other people been complaining about these sketches. So what do y'all think about that? Let's go.
I'm sitting here right beside him every single day, and he's not doing what he was doing before as far as turning to the jury, nodding at them. He tries to make sure he's abiding by the judge's rules, not even looking at the jury when they enter and exit the courtroom today. And so it wasn't a tough talking to this time around, but I'm sure if something else were to happen and the judge notices something, that it might be a different type of talking to after that.
And if you just want to add to that, this is from Mary Baracco. How was Diddy today? How does he appear? How does his demeanor like?
Yeah, well, Diddy today, he was wearing his brown sweater, white undershirt, and khaki pants. As far as his demeanor goes today, I think maybe he was also possibly anticipating that Kanye West would be in the main courtroom, kind of show that level of support between friends. But he seemed kind of as usual, just, taking notes over at the defense table, speaking with his attorneys, nothing out of the normal as far as what we saw today in court. Definitely still participating.
There's always two sides to a story. No matter how bad we think the person may be, they got some people that may love them too.
In his own defense, taking all the testimony in and then jotting appropriate notes down at the appropriate times too.
You got to explain to me what's going on with these audio tapes. I'm not sure I quite follow them, Elizabeth. We have these tapes of what appear to be Christina Quorum speaking with Jonathan Perez. What do these tapes sound like? And by the way, isn't this the first time that we've actually heard the voice of Christina Quorum? What is going on in these tapes?
Yeah.
What's up with these tapes?
Yeah, I think to me that was kind of the most surprising thing, not only because she had recorded this conversation, but also because I'm like, wow, we've only seen her in photographs. Now we're hearing her actual voice. But Jesse, I do want to take a step back as far as why we were hearing that particular audio recording. And it had to do with Jane, because apparently staffers over at Diddy's home saw that there was this sexually explicit video on an iPad that normally the staff uses. And so there was kind of conversations had amongst the staff about how this was found, what do we do, that type of thing. So when Jonathan Perez was on the stand today, he was explaining that that he didn't know that this conversation was recorded, but before even this recording happened, that he had spoken to Diddy about it personally. And now when Jonathan Perez is on the witness stand, he refers to...
So they moved on from Jane and they got somebody else up there. I didn't know that. Like I said, I haven't been really keeping up with it this week. And apparently they done with Jane. They on to this other person.
He has Mr. Combs or Mr. C. So he said that he spoke to Mr. C about this recording and then spoke to Christina Quorum about this particular video recording. I should kind of specify. I know there's the audio recording of Christina Quorum, but as far as the Jane recording of her with another man, Jonathan Perez said he spoke to both Mr. Combs and Christina Quorum about it. So then the conversation is brought back up again weeks after this initial conversation was had. And so we did hear this audio recording from KK and Jonathan Perez. It was dated January 30th of 2023. And I tried to write down as much as I could because finally and thankfully we're able to see the exhibits. So we finally were able to see the transcript. So I was trying to write down as much as I could. But Christina Quorum is kind of like, I don't know how to bring this up. Bring that Bosu ball over here and sit on it so that you aren't standing. It was brought to my attention last night. And tell me step by step what happened. An outside person brought it up. Did you talk to anybody about this particular recording of Jane? Now, she didn't say, Jane or anything like that, but did you talk to anybody? So then Jonathan was like, well, I didn't talk to anybody. Christina Quorum is like, well, were you in the house? And then Christina Quorum said, where were you in the house? Jonathan said, Brandon was there. He was talking about something on the iPad. Christina Quorum is like, okay, well, who was all in the house? We can check the cameras.
Okay, they got this other person on there, and apparently they got some type of recordings or something like that. Let me stop sharing that. But they say Kanye West actually didn't go in the courtroom. He was in the building, but he didn't make it into the courtroom. So apparently they threw with Jane. The defense is through with Jane, and they say Jane stood up to them. Those lawyers probably thought they can bully this woman, Jane, and they say she stood up to them. Of course, they're going to try to poke holes in everything she says or whatever. I mean, that's pretty much all they can do is go after the credibility of these women or whoever is on the stand. But I got to go into the homegirl right here. She be tripping. I think play her just a little bit. If anybody want to see this guy locked up, it's definitely this woman. So I want y'all to check her out. She be clicking out for sure. Let me share my screen. She make it every day. She talk about this guy. She ain't gonna let this guy get by. Let's listen to her for just a minute.
Diddy trial in chaos as juror 6 is set to be kicked off for lack of candor. What does that mean? This as Rhino Bills take center stage? What's that? Good evening. I'm Nancy Grace. This is Crime Stories. I want to thank you for being with with us.
Yeah, we be going in on Diddy, boy. We ain't gonna let up on this guy at all, period. It was up to her. It'd be locked up
This
right
whole trial
now.
cannot be about Sean Combs' Tootsie Roll, but sadly, Rhino appeals are taking center stage. But can we talk about what's happening with the testimony first? Joining me at the courthouse, Tisa Tells.
This is the woman I was talking about right
commentator and
here.
host of Tisa Tells on YouTube.
This woman be really animated. I think she got like an independent like podcast, so she like doing her own reporting, and she been on these nationwide TV shows. Let's see what she said.
Thank you for braving the elements. What happened in court today?
What happened to court sent a shockwave. Juror 6 looks like they are going to be ejected. Everybody is wondering why that is. You know, yesterday the defense team tried to make it into an issue. They're trying to kick off a juror, but unfortunately it doesn't really hold water. The prosecution wants this guy gone. The defense is trying tooth and nail to keep them in. However, it is shockwaves through the court.
Tisa Tells. Tisa, listen.
Yes.
Race is an issue that
just
is
said
appealed all the way up to the United States Supreme Court. So just tell it. Tell it just like it is. And I'll get into the law with Greg Morse. All right. So just tell it. Don't mince words. Go.
Okay. All right. Diddy's team is grasping at straws once again. And I find it funny that someone that is saying now that they're trying to get black people kicked off the jury. I find it funny that Diddy is pulling the race card where literally just a month ago, he had no black people on his legal team. Again, they're grasping at straws. They're trying to turn it into your
Whoa, that's a bombshell. That's a bombshell.
A rich black billionaire. They're trying to turn it into this is unjust. Again, much like the mistrial motions, and every time he's actually pulled out anything dealing with race, it looks like the judge is not.
And they say Diddy in there, you know, he acting like the shot caller in there. He directing all the lawyers, and you know, he's supposed to direct them. They working for him.
Falling forward, and Diddy's team is in meltdown mode about it.
Okay, Tisa Tells, don't move. Straight out to a veteran trial lawyer. And if you could, just for this one time, please, Greg Morse, take your defense hat off and let's talk about Batson v. Kentucky. Greg Morse, Georgia.
I pretty much just wanted to show that woman that does the Nancy Grace show. And she be in there. She be very animated. She be to the details and all of that. But her and that last woman I showed, they does a great job of reporting in there. But that's what's going on. They threw a Jane. They got this issue going on with this juror and the defense. They try to have a mistrial, which is not going to happen. And, you know, it's not going to be a mistrial in this. I mean, what do you expect them to do? They want to pull out all the stops to try to get this man off this charge right here. But again, we got a couple more weeks on this trial, and that's the Diddy update. But I want to move on to the elephant in the room. This guy right here. This is such a tragic. And the actual incident is on, they got the video right now of this guy being assassinated. I'm not going to play that video because of YouTube and all that type stuff. I don't want to get any strikes on my channel. It seems like if I show some type of guns or something, they send me some type of notification or something. But it's on the internet. You can check it out. And the wife actually confronted the guy who assassinated her husband. Then he turned around and assassinated her. Because when the guy was walking up, but first of all, let's get a backdrop on this particular story before we jump right in it. Because it seems like these two YouTubers was beefing it out. And he went down there to the guy's city, which is Las Vegas. And the guy, Rodney, his name is Finna or something like that. We'll get into it in a minute. But both of these guys had these YouTube channels, and they were beefing over the internet. And both of them was trying their best to get their channels taken down. And apparently, these guys had a nice audience. And when you build up these channels and all that type of stuff, it can be taken away from you. Like you can get all these subscribers and you know, it'd be somebody on the back end trying to take your stuff down, you know. So you gotta pick and choose your battles. And this guy right here, they just kept going back and forth, giving each other strikes on these YouTube channels. And one person can take that as you taking food out of my mouth. Because there's some people that make good money on YouTube. It'd be some people making good money off YouTube. So, but yeah, these guys have been going back and forth on the internet. And this guy Rodney popped up down there and he was going live and all that type stuff. And once the other guy saw him down there, he went immediately out there and started hunting for this guy. And while he was hunting for him, he was on his own live stream telling them, I'm out here looking for you. And how that guy was coming off on that live stream, if I would have saw that, I would have got out of Dodge. I'm getting out of your town. I'm in your town. You got the ups on me. You know the ins and outs of your town. And they know how to track down people if you're coming from out of town, because more than likely, you're going to go on the strip. Most visitors and tourists and all that stuff, they on the strip. So that's pretty much the backdrop. But yeah, this guy was on his live telling him and showing people, I'm looking for you. I'm hunting for you. You in my town? Yeah, we're going to see about that. But that's a little of the backdrop. But hold on. Before we even get to that, I forgot all about this one. We got to get to this Karen Reed. I'm going to get, as a matter of fact, I'm going to go ahead and do that last. I'm going to go ahead and do this one since I'm already here. Let me go to the news report. Okay, let's go to this news report right here about this situation. This is coming from the New York Post, which is a very credible news source. And I like to get credible news sources. I see a couple of people in here. Click that like button. Thank you for joining me. This is GPTV1 live stream. We're live every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And when the super chat really start kicking up, we'll add a Sunday on there, and it will be up to the audience to pick out the topics, and we will have that discussion. But let's go to this news report talking about this situation right here. Oh, no, we don't want to show that. That's the actual shooting. I don't want to show the shooting. We don't want to see that. I don't want to show that. That's the actual shooting. We're not going to show that. But it's on the New York Post. We'll go back to the law and crime and see what they're talking about. Once your case is making on that, you know, and this seems to be a state case, and I'm going to follow this whenever it comes to trial. Whenever this case
in a world flooded
case, and I might do some live streams about it. So let me stop sharing that right now. And get back to this right here. Let me get back. And it's a tragedy. His wife got killed in this mess, and she confronted the guy. She walked up to him and said, don't come over here trying to start on shit. And he just basically just started dumping on the guy. Then he turned around and shot her. It's kind of messed up. But yeah, she confronted him first, for sure. Let's go back to this. Where am I at? Let me go back to this. Okay, let's go here. Let me share this screen. I want y'all to see what I'm saying. And let's play that, enlarge that. Let's play that and get some sound going on.
Turned deadly. Las Vegas police announcing the arrest of Manuel Ruiz, accusing him of killing his online rival and the man's wife. A live stream capturing the moment when gunshots rang out, right, sending tourists scrambling on the strip. Police releasing new details as questions swirl about what led up to the violence.
That's him riding around with those live streams. He's telling people, I'm hunting for this guy. You in my city? Oh, I'm coming to see you. So this guy crashed out right here. I want to give him a car crash for you crashing out, sir. For you crashing out, you got to get you one. Let's give him a car crash for that one. Yeah, that's a car crash for him because he sure crashed out on this one. Turn that back down. he crashed out on that one. So, but let's go to the let's play some more.
I'm Kennedy Walker, and I'll walk you through the details. You're watching Law and Crime. Footage circulating online appears to show YouTube Rodney.
That's him live on there, you know, and that's just a lot of things they do. They get on here, they start taunting people. That's just a bad mistake. And just to show live where you at, that's always a bad mistake. I wouldn't do that.
Finley, known to followers as Finny the Legend, spending his final moments with his wife before both were gunned down in Las Vegas Sunday night.
The officers immediately ran towards that gunfire, and they found 2 victims who were laying on the sidewalk, suffering from apparent gunshot wounds.
The shooting, happening live on a stream, unfolded on the Las Vegas Strip near the Bellagio Hotel.
That was
Police
on y'all
identifying the
live streams.
victims.
It looked like they had their live stream set up out there. So it was all caught on camera. So that was their own camera that actually caught this. It seemed like
Rodney Finley and his wife, Tanisha Finley.
Our officers rendered medical aid to both victims, but their efforts to save those victims' lives were unsuccessful.
Undersheriff Andrew Walsh confirming the pair knew the suspect. Police later identifying him as Mel Ruiz.
Yeah, this guy's YouTube channel apparently dressed up like this clown type of makeup that he does on his channel. I don't know what type of content he be making on there, but apparently that's a catch niche to his channel. But when he was going out there hunting for that guy, he didn't have no makeup on at all.
The suspect and the victim had previously engaged in some type of conflict using a variety of social media platforms.
Finley and Ruiz reportedly had an ongoing virtual brawl, trading verbal jabs, hosting heated live streams, and calling each other out across.
But what was the real reason y'all started going at it, you know? And I had my little share of stuff going on this GP channel, you know, all that type of stuff. It could have got out of control, but luckily it didn't go that way. So I had people that actually tried to put me on Front Street. They go on my social media pages, like a lot of stuff I cover. They was sending the videos to people's families, and people tried to throw me under the bus. But here's the thing, these are all personal people I knew, literally tried to throw me under the bus with this GP stuff. And it's all about people want to tell their stories, and they just didn't do it.
Platforms. Both men building followings on YouTube, fueling an online rivalry that reportedly stemmed from a copyright issue and other personal tensions. Ruiz, known online as Sin City Manny, posting this video widely believed to be aimed at Finley.
Went through every casino there is.
You know what I'm saying? Now, he went to every casino because he know people going on the strip.
I heard there's one of my biggest fans here in town. I'm dying to see him.
After the shooting, Ruiz allegedly left the scene, ditching his shirt, hat, and the gun before hopping into a rideshare, according to an arrest report obtained by KLAS. Investigators say he later surrendered to police, claiming self-defense. Ruiz reportedly told investigators he believed the Finleys were going to shoot him, saying Tanisha Finley was, quote, dancing in his face, and that he saw Rodney Finley reaching for.
Remember, pledge. Now call's over.
Oh, man.
Here comes your student.
His waistband, which he thought was a weapon.
Good morning, Mr. Ruiz.
Now, Ruiz is facing 2 counts of murder, appearing in court for the first time as the online feud that once played out on the screen could head to trial.
You were arrested for 2 counts of open murder.
I will be following it. This is an elephant in the room. This is an unfortunate situation. You know, pick and choose your battles and all that stuff. And sometimes just leave that stuff alone. But, you know, this guy feels like you taking food out of my mouth. You trying to destroy me. I got to destroy you first.
Use of a deadly weapon. The court did find probable cause existed for your arrest. You need to hear from the district attorney's office today, and then hear from the public defender.
YouTube streamers were in attendance at Ruiz's hearing. Marquise Wiley telling KLAS the feud between the 2 content creators was, quote, childish, and didn't make any sense. Wiley went on to say that he understands wanting to compete for viewers, but he never thought it would end in violence. And here to break down the story with me is criminal defense attorney Michael Troiano. Michael, thank you so much for coming
about
today.
Rodney Finley.
Absolutely, pleasure to be here.
Now, this case seems like a collision between internet drama and real-world tragedy. From a legal perspective, though, how do prosecutors start to piece together intent in a case like this?
Well, so far the intent seems pretty clear. Although the media does a great job, they don't always get it right. But when you're self-documenting your own online beef, that kind of makes the detective jobs easy for them, right? So it looks like the victims, the gentleman and his girlfriend or wife.
Matter of fact, go over to the GP store and grab you one of those no self-snitching t-shirts. It's available now.
As well as the suspect were in some sort of online YouTube channel beef for the last year at least. They've been commenting on things related to Vegas and I guess more specifically irrelevant to this situation, their internal hatred or dislike for each other.
Yeah.
I want to thank Odoo for sponsoring this news package. Odoo is a powerful all-in-one business software that helps you manage everything from sales to accounting and yes, inventory. Their inventory dashboard makes it easy to track receipts, deliver orders, POS orders, and see what's waiting, late, or back at a glance.
That commercial is playing because they get paid for advertising. But yeah, this dude crashed out on this one for sure. And sometimes, man, we just don't think rationally. We want to get gangster, and then we jump on the internet, and then we start yelling self-defense. So it's going to be a pretty hard case for this guy to prove. But again, you never know when you're in the court system. There's always a chance you can beat those cases if you have the right legal team. Let's go back to see what else they're saying on this.
And we've seen online beefs escalate before, but not always to this level. I mean, we're talking about 2 deaths here caught on camera.
Yeah.
Could the digital footprint actually end up being the most powerful evidence in court?
There's a ton of evidence in this case. And again, we're not privy to all the information quite yet, but it looks like there's documentation on both the suspect and the deceased YouTube channels documenting the beef, documenting the dislike for each other, as well as the actual shooting itself. I'm sure your viewers have already seen it or will probably be seeing it as part of this clip, but you see them walking by each other in front of the iconic Bellagio fountains right there on the beautiful Las Vegas Strip. And the accused clearly pulls out a firearm, shoots him. You could see the gun, you could see the muzzle go off, and we have 2 deceased individuals.
Yeah.
And he claimed self-defense, the accused, but as we just stated, the live stream seems to show, things play out a different way. And it also—
You can see all this stuff unfolding right there on the strip, and his witnesses standing around, plus people driving by.
Also shows just prior video of his that he may have actually been searching for Mr. Finley prior to this. How might prosecutors use that to challenge his version of events?
Yeah, so the online documented beef, but again, the defense attorney can say those are words going back and forth on each side. There was video, you're correct, that I watched that was about 24 hours, if that, prior to, where he states his intent that he's actively searching him out to see him in person for some sort of confrontation. In regards to him claiming self-defense, I'm not aware, I haven't been able to see any police reports just yet if he actually spoke to police or gave a statement. From a criminal defense standpoint, that would be a pretty foolish thing to do. You want to invoke your right to remain silent, speak to your attorney so you can keep all options open. But at the end of the day, based on what we've seen so far, it seems very likely that's going to be his only avenue of defense, is to say that, hey, this was an ongoing beef. He was throwing words and threats my way. And when I saw him on the strip, it was commotion. Maybe argue that, he threatened him or tried to pull out.
Yeah. It's an unfortunate situation going on right there. And both of these individuals lost their lives over this internet, so-called internet beef. And both of these guys allegedly had these followings, and they was trying to take each other's pages down by sending all these strikes and copyright stuff to YouTube. And, this stuff just got out of control. You went down there, basically taunting this guy. You just don't go to people's cities and do stuff like that. You don't know what people are capable of. They can easily track you down, that's for sure. So it's unfortunate that this happened to this man and his wife. That's just insane, you know. It is what it is, man, and all this stuff had to play out in the court system, you know. It's crazy, man. I don't want to go through all that stuff. This stuff is not worth it, you know. Everybody can build them up a audience when it comes to this. And like I said, YouTube, you can make some good money, you know, podcasting on here. You know, I know a guy, he makes about $50,000 per month. But he got a large following, 600, 700,000 followers, subscribers rather. And lastly, I want to go into the closing argument with this girl, Karen Reed. And the closing argument stage right now, and I believe that she probably will walk on this case. But I just want to hear a little bit of that closing argument. I'll be looking at all these other ethnic groups and all that stuff and see what they got popping in their community, you know, see what they got going on. And this case has been very popular, and this woman has basically became extremely popular dealing with this case. But let's go to some of this closing argument. Let me go to some of this Karen Reed. And I will be keeping up with this Rodney case. That Rodney and that man who shot him, I will be keeping up with that case. But let's share some of this and catch some of this closing argument.
There was no collision. There was no collision. I want to take a minute to start off with thanking you. I want to thank you for your attention. I want to thank you for your patience. I want to thank you for your diligence. This is not an easy undertaking. Most of all, I want to thank you for your courage, because courage is what this moment demands. Not just to listen, but to stare directly at injustice and say, not here, not now, not on our watch. That's what you're being asked to do. Stare down injustice. I want to start with a simple truth. You folks, not us, nobody.
You know, these women going against these police officers and all that.
Courtroom, you folks are the last line of defense. The last line of defense between an innocent woman and a system that has tried to break her, that falsely accused her, that tried mightily to bury the truth. This case was corrupted from the start. It was corrupted by biases and conflicts and personal loyalties that you heard about. And most fatally, it was corrupted by a lead investigator whose misconduct infected every single part of this case from the top to the bottom. In our opening comments to you a few weeks ago, we told you to watch.
Tried hard to put this case on this woman. I just don't think that she's guilty in this case.
We warned you what to watch for. We begged you what to watch for. Watch for the physical evidence. Pay attention to the medical facts. Pay attention to the science and the physics. But also pay attention to the integrity, the very essence, the integrity of the investigation. But you also saw something during the course of the trial that none of us might have expected, something that should sadden us, something that maybe would anger us. On full display, you saw the lengths to which some police officers will go to protect their own.
Yes, they will.
At the expense of the rest of us. At the expense of Karen Reed, an innocent woman. Before we examine the evidence in the case, which we will do, we need to understand the very
woman going up against some powerful forces.
Foundation of the entire system of justice in which we operate. It's the bedrock on which this entire system is built. Reasonable doubt. This isn't just a technicality, and it's not a slogan. It's a constitutional shield that protects the innocent and prevents the government from punishing without proof. The Commonwealth has the high burden to prove every single element of every single charge beyond a reasonable doubt and to a moral certainty. As I said, those powerful words are not just some legal jargon. They're your mandate, they're your obligation They're your community's protection against injustice. In our system of justice, Karen Reed sits here today, presumed innocent, cloaked in the presumption of innocence. That presumption is not fragile. It doesn't just disappear because there's a charge or a badge or a theory. That presumption stands firm unless and until the Commonwealth clears that high bar, the highest bar the law provides, proof beyond a reasonable doubt and to a moral certainty. That means at the end of this case, at the end of the trial, you think about one or more of the charges, you think, you know what, maybe that's true. It might be true. Then you vote not guilty. If you think it's possibly true or probably true.
So that's a little bit of the closing arguments in the Karen Reed trial. And they will be deliberating on that. And you know, the prosecution or the Commonwealth, you know, they're going to come back with their little rebuttal because they want to be have the last say in all of this. I just think that woman is guilty. I mean, she's not, I believe she's not guilty, excuse me. The logic behind that, it just don't add up. The science don't add up. And none of that stuff. That man got to that house, they jumped on him, sicked the dog on him and all that stuff, and he died because he hit the back of his head. But once all that happened, the people, the owners of the house, they got rid of the flooring in there. They put all new flooring in there, and they got rid of that dog. Like they got rid of all the evidence. And they also said that this guy did not die from frostbite and all that type of stuff. You know, when hypothermia, when you outside too long, it's too cold. They say his body didn't get that cold. So he wasn't sitting out there like they try to portray that he was outside all that time until that lady came back looking for him. She noticed, hey, this guy ain't came back yet. I know we was arguing, but what happened? So she got up and started looking for the guy. But that's the Karen Reed trial right there. They closing that case up, and we should have some type of verdict probably by next week sometime. This is GPTV1 live stream. Catch me on Monday. 9 p.m. 9 p.m. sharp. It's going down in a major way. I have fun doing this, like always, performing for you guys. And like I said, if you're in the building, share this live stream. Click that like button and click that notification bell. On that note, stay blessed, fam.